Hello, ladies and gentlemen, MarauderEX here with a recap, I guess? I don't know, I haven't done one of these in a while. So, yesterday was a day in the gaming industry. First thing I saw, there's going to be a very limited run of a physical release of the Secret of Mana remake. It seems like they are partnering with Gamestop to do a limited run, and they're being it's going to be very limited quantities, reserved now. A lot of discussion about that online. I'm personally torn about this, mostly because I love physical collections, but I also wasn't really that interested in the remake. It looks like a good remake, I guess. Like, I like some of the design choices, but like, if I ever have the itch to play Secret of Mana, I just play the original, personally. That's just me. But then, you know, having a limited edition physical copy, you know, if I was going to buy a copy of the game, that would probably be it. So now I'm sitting here debating whether or not I'm going to go reserve that at my local GameStop. So that's actually kind of surprising news. And it's not the first time that GameStop has partnered with someone. I mean, they were the reason why we got Xenoblade in North America. The distribution through GameStop from Nintendo, like, that was it. If GameStop hadn't stepped in, there was a good chance that may not have happened. Because there was a lot of up in the air about that at the time. So, like, this is not the first time GameStop has stepped in to be like, hey, yeah, we're gonna do something to make us not seem douchey. But, I've got horror stories. So that was the first thing I saw. The second thing I saw is Capcom came out of the gate just swinging. And, like, this is in stark contrast to what I was expecting Capcom. The last couple of things I'd heard about Capcom was like, there was discussion of maybe them getting bought by someone, them selling off IPs and assets. You know, there was a lot of not positive talk. And then I didn't believe a lot of that because they still have, like, the Monster Hunter franchise is still doing really well. But Capcom as a company doesn't seem to carry the weight behind its name that it once did. So there was, I guess, a grain of salt type thing with it. Like, I was like, maybe they're not doing so well, but I can't imagine that they're that bad. That they are as bad off as some people are trying to push to believe. But, you know, the fact that all I'm hearing for so long is negative. And then Capcom was like, hey, guess what? Mega Man's 30th anniversary, Mega Man 11. Watched the trailer. Like I said, they came out swinging, because this looks like a direct fuck you to Keiji Inafune and Mighty No. 9. Like, the game looks like it's similar engine, similar design choices, just like, hey, guess what? We can do a game that doesn't look like crap. Like, we can do a game in the same vein that you did and have it not look like a hot, steaming pile of crap. So yeah, that seemed like just a big... there are so many ways I've heard this described, that none of them are really, nice to repeat, especially in video format. So I'm just gonna let your imaginations wander of just how Capcom came in the door with this announcement. But then, that wasn't it. That was not the only thing that they said. On their Twitter account, just, it seemed kind of quiet. And, like, they're just gonna let the Mega Man 11 trailer be this thing, and in the background they're, oh yeah, by the way, we've got Mega Man X 1 through 8 coming out on these platforms. And from the sound of it, it sounds like one of the legacy compilation versions. So, like, that's... I have the Mega Man X collection, and that's Mega Man 1 through 6, and I don't have 7, because who the hell cares about 7? And I do have 8, so it's like, I've got all of the good Mega Man X games, and some of the not good Mega Man X games. But not the worst. And so, like, they're just like, yeah, this is coming out, and it's coming out on all major platforms. It's coming out on Xbox One, PS4, PC, Switch. And at that point, like, people are like, and the fact that Mega Man 11 also coming out on Switch. They're like, hey, yeah, Capcom didn't forget that the Switch is a thing. with these fantastic releases, because the last Anniversary Collection, they're like, yeah, no, we're gonna forget, you know, a couple of things exist. And to be fair, I really had no interest in the last Anniversary Collection. I have the original Anniversary Collection and the X Anniversary Collection. The number of games and the features on those seem to far outweigh the re-releases. You get some more museum content, but you're getting less game content. So I was really not impressed with that. So I'm holding off any sort of judgment to see what they're going to include with the X collection bundle. If it's going to be all the games on one disc, or if they're just saying, yes, we're going to release these games for whatever digital download. That's what I'm wondering is going to happen. So we'll see how that goes. But if it's all the games on one collection, if they have some museum type, that's still a fantastic deal. And that's still something I might buy again just to have on the Switch, because then I could play all the Mega Man X games on the go. And all I can sit here and think of now all I need to do is be able to play all the original Mega Man games on the go. So yeah, that was a day in news. That, not what I was expecting, especially this late in the year. Like, more often than not, when you hear something like this, it's like, yeah, by the way, we're gonna wait till the next major trade event. Either, you know, Tokyo Game Show, E3, depending on if a company's partnering with, you know, one of the major platforms, either partnering with Sony or Microsoft or Nintendo, they'll, you know, throw it into whatever, you know, news conference that they tend to do. Nintendo does the directs, Sony has their conferences, so it's like, we're beginning of December, hey, guess what, 2018, we didn't forget that Mega Man has an anniversary, and we're going to try to do something, you know, impressive. That's just, I'm shocked and amazed by this. So, yeah, let me know your thoughts. Are you interested in Mega Man 11? Does it look interesting? Do you think it's too little effort? Do you think they could have done a little bit more? What? I mean, granted, all we have is the trailer to kind of go off of, so don't have too much, but it's enough to be like, okay, maybe they could have, you know, upped the graphics a little bit more. Maybe they're doing it just a little bit bare bones. Maybe they're pulling, you know, one of the many other things that companies seem to be doing, of putting in the least amount of effort to see how much return they could possibly get if they were to invest a little bit more. Because that's the thing, there's a point where it's like, if you can invest a little bit more, you can get a little bit more sales, and there's a point where it's going to reach an equilibrium. They don't want to reach that equilibrium. They want to spend as less money and make as most money as possible off of the same thing. So, maybe the graphics could have been a little bit better. Don't know. There's a lot going on there, so I kind of want to know other people's thoughts. Because it's, you know, I love the Mega Man franchise, but I've not followed a lot of Capcom's internal policies, or I've not followed their corporate presence in many years. So I don't know if this actually is, like, is this a good thing? Is this like them extending an olive branch to the Mega Man community for all the other crap that they've pulled, canceling games like Mega Man Legends 3? Or is this just a, like, we're trying to placate the fans and try to get a couple of bucks out of the process, and then we'll go back to forgetting it? I'm curious. I really am. Also, how do you feel about, you know, very limited runs of physical copies of games by partnering with other companies? Like, there's a whole business model of that with things like limited run games, and I even did Indie Box, so like there's a market for that. But I've heard, you know, a lot of pros and cons as to how that can affect, you know, the business, or the industry as a whole. So I'm kind of curious as to other people's thoughts on that as well. So a lot of things to talk about. I'm really curious to hear a lot more thoughts on that. So let me know what you think in the comments below, and I'll be back next time there's a bit of news or something to rant about, because let's face it, it's what I do. So till then, later everyone.